Hello and welcome everyone. We're here to cast NGS Storm Division qualifiers and we've got a wild match tonight. WildHeart Alpha is going to be taking on WildHeart, aka the CCL roster WildHeart. So I'm really excited to be able to cast these two teams. And of course we have a WildHeart content creator herself joining us to co-cast with me tonight, Salvaje. How are you doing, Salvaje?
Hey, I am feeling great. I'm so excited for these games tonight, especially being like on the WildHeart fan club.
Yeah.
Like I'm so hyped to see these games go down.
Well, they're about ready to get into this match, so let's quickly run over what happened with the map selections here tonight. We'll bring you to that screen in just a moment, because I need to update it first. All right. We'll go there now. So first pick is going over to the side of WildHeart Alpha. They opted to go with first pick here, giving the map pick over to WildHeart. This is going to be
fun to cast. Oh, thanks.
And those bands that come out tonight, WildHeart Alpha taking away Sky Temple and Garden of Terror, and over on the side of WildHeart, Brax's Holdout and Dragonshire being banned out. And we are starting this evening off on Infernal Shrines for our first game. What's your thoughts on that, Salvaje?
I'm excited to see how both sides decide to approach Infernal Shrines, because, you know, a lot of people tend to favor Kerrigan, Sonya, even Hogger's really good on this map now with all those little choke points, and the Punish is a really, really strong objective. However, this is WildHeart we're talking about, so we can have some drafts going completely opposite of whatever we think here on the casting station.
You did mention Kerrigan, and I do notice we have a certain someone over on the side of WildHeart Alpha tonight. Breakwood's going to be playing in there. I know she's been kind of subbing in. I don't know if she's officially found a home yet, but she plays a mean Kerrigan, so it's definitely a possibility.
That she does. That'd be really exciting to have that shown off tonight by her as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see if she does bring it out or not. Either way, I'm pumped to see her in the lobby tonight, and I'm ready to see these two teams battle it out here.
Yeah, it's basically JV versus varsity. That's what's happening
Pretty
right
much,
now.
yeah, it really, really is. Now, there's still a bunch of qualifiers left, so one of these teams, I mean, we'd all love both teams to win. We're all WildHeart fans here, but one of these teams is going to end up winning and moving forward for the qualifiers. And there's still some more opportunities, even if they do lose, to get in on these. Who's going to win, WildHeart or WildHeart? I'm pulling for WildHeart here.
Yeah, same here. WildHeart definitely has a much more experience in that high level of play, obviously, with the CCL. However, if they do lose, you know, maybe they might rethink some of that CCL roster with WildHeart Alpha.
All right, let's get into this. Now, how familiar are you with all of these players and their hero pools?
I'm not crazy familiar, not like how I am with some of my friends. I know Unaverted has an insane chromie. Usually Unaverted's going to be placed on that like high DPS mage pick, if not like a ranged auto attacker. Zergling, mean Yrel. His Yrel's extremely scary to be facing against, and Pit Kid, he's got all the tanks under his belt. He's got Johanna, he's got Diablo, he's got Stukov, he's got Uther. So, you know, and Buds as well with the Stukov and the Uther. The Uther is something that was banned most of the time in CCL against WildHeart was Stukov. I mean, I'm sorry, Uther, not Stukov, Uther.
Well, we are seeing that first ban come out by the side of WildHeart, taking that Hogger away, and over on the side of WildHeart Alpha, Medivh being banned.
We don't have Funds, who's usually the Medivh player for WildHeart.
Yeah,
that's
I
who played it
that.
in CCL. Yeah, I don't know if like is Funds moving off or if he's staying as a sub. I don't know exactly what's going on with that. But we don't see him here tonight.
There's a Phoenix band coming out there from the side of WildHeart. I feel so silly just repeating WildHeart over and over again.
And then Hager. Yeah, we have like just all of the academy teams just have WildHeart and then something after it. So it becomes so confusing when trying to cast when they're facing each other. And we have a Tychus band coming out from WildHeart Alpha, which opens up Diablo. That does allow Pit Kid, if he wants to snack that up. Tychus is one of the biggest counters to Diablo, even though there are other counters.
Yeah, absolutely. And he still seems to be pretty popular in the meta right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that.
Murky first pick.
All right, it's gonna be one of those games.
This is Zergling. He is the off lane, so and it makes sense. We don't know if there's gonna be some swapperinos going around after this, but if it is gonna stick on Zergling, it does make sense that he's gonna be the one to snatch that up.
Now I think that I wrote down the first pick map pick stuff opposite. So this is a map pick by WildHeart Alpha.
Okay.
If WildHeart has the first pick here. Unless they messed up the draft, but we would have no idea because we can't see the chat. So I'm assuming I just messed it up, and this map pick is actually WildHeart Alpha's map pick, which we can fix really easily.
And we do have Uther and Hanzo snatched up by WildHeart Alpha. We were talking about that Uther a little bit, and we did see it snatched up by Alpha instead of the main WildHeart team. And we see Chromie on Unaverted and Ana on Weary Day, which may get swapped for Buds. I know Buds and Weary Day play a lot of similar healers just from CCL alone. That's all I know it from.
Luminous says, I'm a big fan of Murky, so I'm here to watch Zergling pwn everyone. We're going to see that Garrosh coming out by the side of WildHeart Alpha here for the last ban on their side. Do you have any idea what we're going to see here for the next ban on the side? Oh, never mind. Let's
they
just
did
say
it
it's
so
going to be
fast.
Sonya. No discussion needed. Sonya taken away here.
Yeah, Sonya's hard to kill, especially with what they're showing already with the Chromie, Murky, and Ana.
Do you think we're going to see a nano-boosted Murky?
That's a lot of slime. That's a lot of slime, if that's what we're going to be seeing here. And that slime's going to hurt.
Is WildHeart just kind of memeing tonight?
I mean, that's what they said every single time they drafted. So, I mean, the memes turned into wins, though. And we have Cho'Gall.
Oh my god.
Cho'Gall.
What is this draft? I love it. Hey, Goon, how are you? Shake my head, Zergling benched for season 10.
Yeah, Cho'Gall. So we definitely do have quite a draft. However, you know, if it fills all the boxes, they have the map control. They have shrine control with Cho'Gall and Chromie. They have the nano boosted Cho'Gall and the heals from far away from Ana.
And there we go. We have the Thrall locked in, so that's going to provide some % damage shred onto the Cho'Gall as well. Breakwood taking that. This is gonna be a fun match to cast already, just based on the draft here. Main tank Uther coming out, Cho'Gall and Murky. I was making jokes about the nano boost and Murky, but now with the Cho'Gall on the team, I don't know about that.
Who knows? We just know that they really have to stay on top of that map game. Like, Murky can be such a menace, especially if they decide to proxy the waves top. And then someone has to go and answer that while continuing to push and whatnot. So I'm excited to see how they end up running this and how Alpha decides to respond to it.
All right, let's get into this. I'm hoping...
Who knows? We just know that... Do you want me to kick off the names?
My OBS is being silly tonight, so I don't know if my scenes are changing or not.
Uh-oh.
They're not.
No, I see. Well, it's a 30-second delay, so I can't see just yet.
Yeah, I might have to quickly restart this.
Do you want to pause? I'm going to go ahead and hit a pause.
Yeah, just pause really quick if we can.
It's pause break? It's not pausing.
Oh, we might not be able to. Shoot. Okay. They can't see us because we're not.
Shit. Okay.
I'm just going to restart it really quickly, and then we'll get back because my OBS is frozen, so I can't change overlays.
Okay, I'll go through the names real fast on the side of for the draw. And we do see a rotate possibly happening here on Drunkendorf on the Dahaka. Putting some damage, just some siege damage onto the front wall with Murky coming over here in the backside. It looks like they are eyeing this bruiser camp, and they can do it just fine because they have the Murky bribe. So they're able to bribe the big minion and just kill off the rest of them very quickly and capture that bruiser camp. She's just getting that soak. We do see a time stop going down onto Breakwood, followed up by the slime from Murky and some big damage landing onto her. Unaverted getting fairly low here, but deciding to step up because he's got that Ana healing just fine.
It's that bruiser camp picked up in the top by WildHeart. That's going to siege up. The first objective is going to be up there first, and it looks like Cho'Gall taking quite a bit of damage here. It's looking like he's going to go down, but managing to survive. Look at the health left on him. He's going to back out here, hurt, and get ready for this objective. For the meantime, WildHeart Alpha up and around, ready to go and start the shred on these skeletal defenders.
My God, his health wasn't even there. He got away. But we do see this heavy pressure. We're going to see a big wave bottom not to be picked up by WildHeart Alpha. So they will be behind on these level 7s when it does pop here.
Now, I imagine we're going to see Murky just continuing to double soak during this objective phase, so Dahak is going to be sticking around down there, maybe only burrowing up if really, really needed in that top lane. But for now, 30 skeletal defenders and climbing, it is looking pretty good for WildHeart Alpha right now. Cho'Gall going in, sleep connecting onto Uther. We have some damage being dropped by Chromie. Winterheart getting quite low. The double healer comp, I mean, Uther, like half a healer as the tank main here as well. Going to heal him up pretty quickly. And now the shred is on for WildHeart here. Finally getting their first skeletal defenders in. It's not gonna... Yeah, it's not...
33, yeah, skeletal defenders. We see a tiny little bit of an engage here. We're going to see Alpha try to go in for these final 6 skeletal defenders pushing Cho'Gall out. We did have the Dahaka dig up there, but because we got a nice onto Unaverted and followed by Utherson, followed by a Aerial Whip. Oh baby, that Chromie is gonna go down, and the Punisher does go over to the side of WildHeart Alpha.
This one is an arcane Punisher, so no forts being shut down this time here, but they're going to try and get some good value out of that. 4 members up here pushing this top fort down. Meanwhile, Murky's still doing the double soak between mid and bottom. Dahaka is rotated down to match him in the lane. They're going to get this front wall at least. Let's see if they can get the fort as well here. The Punisher about to fall down, about half of the health left on this fort. Breakwood throwing out a root there to stop the engage from Cho'Gall and Ana. Sleep connecting onto the Uther and the Ariel as well. Getting a little bit chunked, but able to survive through that damage, that Chromie drop there. And that's all they're going to get for now.
Oh, I would have really loved if they could somehow manage to get the fort there to try to get that cata pressure into this Murky double soak. Because even though that first Punisher did go over to the side of WildHeart Alpha, we can see here in the levels that WildHeart is going to be hitting level 10 first if nothing changes at the moment.
Yeah, that Murky value, because he was able to soak the entire time, didn't need to go to objective, really kind of putting his team a little bit ahead here. We are going to see Unadverted and Weary Day start up the siege camp over on the side of WildHeart. There might be an engage here. We do have Ariel scouting it out, Whip connecting onto Chromie, stun going out onto her, and she is able to back out here. Anna healing her up, and a little bit of poke damage onto the Ariel, but this camp is going to go over to the side of WildHeart Alpha. Meanwhile, down in the bottom, Zergling taking the siege camp.
Heroes slain.
Oh.
I caught that real quick. Cho'Gall did manage to engage onto Breakwood and get that pick there with his ultimate, the Gall ultimate. I really like Valimar here. He, as Ariel, you know, sometimes oh, we have a Murky ult going in onto the backline, but Hanzo ending up falling to the Chromie damage. Hanzo gets popped by Chromie, man. It's so hard to avoid those things. Or damage.
Those lane setups are really interesting to watch on the side of WildHeart. Chromie coming around here for the flank, trying to get some damage onto Ariel. Here comes Zergling with the bribe onto the camp. Still need to kill those 2 minions left on it, but this camp is once again going to go over to WildHeart. WildHeart's trying to...
Nano both going down onto Cho'Gall, and we see Murky getting out of there with Silver's help, but it is just Murky. Uther does end up going down to the Nexus minions, and we have the Dragon Strike going to zone them away, and Unaverted actually falling to Breakwood, and Ryokai is here trying to chase them down, but they are fairly low. Do need to be careful here because they no longer have their tank.
Anna doing a great job keeping Cho'Gall up through all that, and they're going to continue just to create pressure in this top lane.
And Ariel has been like an MVP from what I've seen so far with her healing. She runs through Chromie's sand, what is it, slowing sands. She just walks through them. Valimar says slowing sands, I don't know her. Just goes right through it and tries to whip whoever she wants.
The Ariel whips have really been on point to really help to secure some essential kills for the side of WildHeart Alpha.
I want to see if she went the slow. No.
What do you think of the Hanzo ult?
I like it for this map. It does provide. Oh, we do see the engage here going down onto the Uther. We do have Divine Shield popped, but we have the pull from Cho'Gall, and Hanzo gets deleted. Valimar going ahead trying to whip that Cho'Gall. Does get their team up and healthy. However, we don't have Divine Shields. It did have to be used to save the Uther. We have a Dahaka. Dig tongue goes out, doesn't end up connecting with anyone, and we have the Murky flanking from the backline, ulting with the March of the Murlocs and going to zone this entire objective. Breakwood here on the right hand side, but she's gonna be a-okay. WildHeart taking a lot of damage here. There's only 15 skeletal defenders for WildHeart Alpha, and there's 31 for WildHeart. And we see some more damage going down onto the Uther. Aegis gets popped to try to save him, but Slowing Sands gets put right under. Valimar getting very zoned out, and WildHeart getting engaged on once again by the Cho'Gall. And while that whole skirmish was happening, Punisher goes to the side of WildHeart, and top 4 goes to the side of WildHeart as well.
So much happening in that last team fight. There's little fights happening spread out all over there. I couldn't zoom the camera out far enough to catch it all. But this Punisher going over to the side of WildHeart, we're going to see Murky getting picked off there. Not the biggest deal. But the Ariel going down here is Chromie just on the flank there, dumping the damage out, getting that pick, and this fort is looking like it's going to go down. That frozen Punisher shutting down the fort one last time before finally finishing it off. Breakwood also going to fall here. This Chromie is just relentless on the flanks, unaverted. Oh my goodness.
He completely used the Punisher's timer to his advantage. He was flanking like that, you know, causing a little bit of confusion. Like, why is this Chromie just flanking us from behind? Because the Punisher was about to jump and serve as his tank. That was so cool. That was so much fun.
And they're going to continue to siege here. They're trying to get this keep down. Cho'Gall is on it. Anna keeping him healed up. We have Ariel around for the defense, but the rest of the team just looks like they're not going to make it here on time. We are going to see this bottom keep fall over on the side of WildHeart Alpha. Sleep going out, connecting onto Uther for the disengage, and they're out of there, mounted and running away.
And Murky on the sidelines, getting value wherever his team isn't, and making sure to keep an eye on that Dahaka, because wherever Dahaka isn't, that's a wave pushing in.
We're now seeing a huge lead for the side of WildHeart, 3 levels up, that level 16 talent tier advantage in favor of them now, so they can pretty much run this game how they want for now.
Yeah, this is gonna be tough for WildHeart Alpha. Oh, we do see Valimar getting sighted, but the whip being able to stun the Cho'Gall and get themselves on out of there. We see Chromie getting that bottom camp by herself as well. And a huge pull going on to 3 members inside of WildHeart Alpha. However, that stun from WildHeart does end up managing to stop the Cho'Gath from engaging on his team. And we do see mid-fort go down, so they do need to be a little bit careful here. This Murky's still up and running. They have March of the Murlocs, and Cho'Gath can dive them pretty easily.
Chromie did manage to get that camp out in the bottom, and now we have WildHeart getting stunned. Healer's trying to keep him alive here with the Aegis coming out from Ariel. For now, he is out of there, but Valimir looking like he might be in a little bit of trouble. He does get that cleanse, but not enough in time to get healed. We are going to see Ariel and Uther both fall here as the pressure continues from this Cho'Gall and Anna. Now with the Chromie around, they just have so much poke damage. People are getting deleted and caught out down that level 16 talent tier. They're pushing for this keep, and Cho'Gall is in there.
Yeah, and Uther's dead. Cho'Gall's able to just kind of run however he wants. We see this tank, or this keep, shooting him. However, he's going to be able to get on out of there with the time stop going down onto Dahaka. Chromie really far up in the front here. Timeout coming out. And an upheaval followed up, but Dahaka does manage to dodge it with the dig. And they're just going to go ahead and focus up on this keep and get it down.
So what I love to see, you have that talent tier advantage, like do something with it, and they do manage to do a lot with it. They're taking forts and keeps here. Cho'Gall going in for another engage, trying to find a pick. We have that Divine Shield being popped by Uther to keep him alive, and it is going to be the Dahaka that falls. They're going for that pull once again. Breakhood being pulled in, the Unstoppable being used to allow her to disengage here. Ryokai looking like he might be in a little bit of trouble, but it's going to leap over into the base here to get healed up. They're just pushing for core now. How much poke damage is enough poke damage to win this game, Salvaje?
They'll be able to end right here, and it seems to be that's the call. We have Cho'Gall just kind of running amok down here into WildHeart and Breakwood. WildHeart gonna have to back up. These Katas are actually doing a ton of damage to him as well. Upheaval going down onto WildHeart and pop. There he goes. But we do have Murky getting the Bruiser camp for their side, so they're gonna try to put as much pressure as they can, and Cho'Gall just kind of creating chaos here in the background. And once these Bruisers and camps come up, I think they're gonna just go for the end if they don't go for objective.
How frustrated would you be right now if you're on the side of WildHeart Alpha to have this Cho'Gall just styling on you with no healer to help him out, and you can't manage to take him down still?
Oh my gosh, I'd already all F4 this game. Once the Murky got picked first pick, I all F4. I'd be done. But hey, it's not over till it's over. However, we do see a ton of pressure. This is really WildHeart's game to lose at this point if they want to do anything where they put themselves at a disadvantage. But we do see Ryokai stepping up here, realizing that they have to do something, because if they just hang around with the Cho'Gall, they're just going to lose to the Punisher. So they have to try to make something happen instead of responding solely to the Cho'Gall.
And they are going up for this objective here. Chromie also rotating up, but Cho'Gall and Anna on the core of WildHeart Alpha. We do have the March of the Murlocs being dropped here to kind of trap them in zone-wise over here. They're going to try to Hearth in this backbush. Whip going out from the Ariel to stop Zergling from canceling the Hearth here. So they are going to make it back to go for this core defense. We are going to see Ryokai drop the ult onto objective here. Zergling doing all he can to be an annoying little fish, just chasing down the remaining members of WildHeart Alpha. At this point, with level 20s online, he's quite a force to be reckoned with. He does get picked off here, but again, it's Murky. He's going to be up in no time at all. And Chromie's still around doing a ton of poke damage. We are going to see Thrall and Dahaka die at the core. Cho'Gall and Anna still going at it down here.
Yeah, they end up getting the Chromie pick. However, the Punisher does go over to the side of WildHeart Alpha, but they have Cho'Gall and Anna just beating down on this core. Game number 1, going over to WildHeart.
Wow.
Which, I mean, this is a force to be reckoned. You know what I mean? This isn't some other NGS Storm Division team.
No,
this is a CCL team. These
and not
guys
just any
grand
CCL.
finals.
Exactly, a grand final CCL team. So even with a draft that you think is a little bit out there, they just are showing up and putting in the work. Holy, what a rough matchup to have to go against. But I'm assuming WildHeart Alpha maybe gets the chance to scrim this WildHeart team once in a while.
Maybe. I don't really know the inner workings.
I'm
of
sure.
how that all works, but I'm sure they're scrimming against each other to help them.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe this is a scrim.
you know what? The best thing about all of this is that they're from the same org. So you have WildHeart as a team to look up to and kind of, be a guiding light of what to look for in your team and where to improve. So you have such an amazing roster of players here to learn from.
Yeah, and they have, essentially, these are scrims, kind of. Like, you can get into these VODs, and then you have both teams talking to each other and be like, okay, you guys decided to do this, and this is why we did that. You guys did this, and we responded this way. This is why we responded this way. And, just pass on that knowledge and have it trickle down to the academy teams to hopefully get them up there into, CCL skill level.
Absolutely. Let's just take a quick look at these talents here. Is there anything you want to touch on before we pop back on over to us and get ready for that next lobby?
Once you switch to them on your stream, I will. If you want to go over
30-second delay. No, I mean, everything looks pretty standard here from my perspective. Nothing too surprising for the most part.
I'm thinking maybe the Hanzo arrow could have helped try to get, those final kills on Cho'Gall.
That's the only thing, which we already talked about in game a little bit.
Or maybe the Sunder to go straight onto the Chromie. I mean, if you see that they pick Cho'Gall and this is your team, this is already what you got to work with, and you pick Uther or Thrall, great. Ignore Cho'Gall and just go in on Ana and Chromie. You're Thrall. Run around onto the backline, onto the flank, Sunder, and cause chaos in the backline. And force Cho'Gall to have to respond. I guess that's the best way you can try to play those team fights.
I think that Earthquake is such a good talent to do that with, though, is to go on the flank and land an Earthquake in the backline and get on them with the slows. But, yeah, I just, the entire time, it felt like WildHeart Alpha was playing from behind, so they never really had those opportunities to try to make some plays like that. Even when they finally got their level 16 talent tier, WildHeart was like at 19.9 basically at that point. There's just not an opportunity there for them to try and make something work. What about the Divine Shield being picked up by Uther? Thoughts on that?
I guess just to help him live. I think that decision was made simply because I am serving as the tank and I died too quick. So I need to find a way to bait all of their abilities on me, and then I can Divine Shield and hopefully we can get a counter pick. I think maybe that's like the thought process going through it. Because other than that, once I see a Cho'Gall, I just go back to the same thing that we were just talking about before. Just run in there and Divine Storm whatever squishy you can and try to pop them and deal with the Cho'Gall later, essentially. But maybe that was the thought process going into that.
Yeah, I just can't help but feel they had a lot of trouble trying to lock down that Cho'Gall, and he was just shoving and moving all around, just kiting everyone. It was such an annoying hero for them to have to play against there. I wonder if the Divine Storm maybe would have helped out a little bit more just on that lockdown, having an extra stun to throw out there. But let's pop back on over to us, and it looks like the lobby is up for the next game, so we'll be getting into that in just a moment. And let me update the score real quick too.
The next map we're going to be going on is Volskaya Fundrais. Pretty okay map. People are still saying how the first two Triglobs are essentially useless, because when you get into them, you actually bait the rest of your team, and they end up getting dove on because it's three members of the team outside while two of them are inside of the Triglob, and usually the offlane is somewhere else, so.
Hey Porky, how are you doing? What did I just walk into? WildHeart Alpha taking on WildHeart.
You walked into some WildHeart drafts, is what this is.
Yeah, really. It does look
it's
like
so fun. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it does look like this map is gonna be picked by the side of WildHeart Alpha having first pick here. So let me go on over to these map selection screen, give you a rundown in case you missed that first series here. We were on Infernal Shrines for game number 1 with a wild draft from WildHeart taking the win. In game number 2, we are going to be going to Volskaya Foundry, this time map pick by the side of WildHeart, giving first pick over to the side of WildHeart Alpha. Hopefully this WildHeart team names isn't so confusing for you viewers.
I mean, it's confusing for us, Jazzy, who just even imagine what they're feeling right now.
It's great for us because we can't be wrong. Like, you can
True.
say WildHeart got the advantage, and it doesn't matter because you're right either way. All right, the readies are coming out here, so we're getting into the game number 2 draft here in just a moment. This is a best-of-3 series, so if WildHeart can take the win here, they'll be winning this series and moving on for the rest of the qualifiers this week. But if WildHeart Alpha can bring us a game number 2, we might have another game in our roster tonight. Let's go on over to this draft.
Man, do we even bother guessing the picks? I think we have an easier time guessing the bands, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. After game number 1 there with WildHeart's draft, if you guys are just tuning in now, it was a Cho'Gall, Murky, Anna, and Chromie. I don't know that I even want to try to guess at what they're going to pull out here because their drafting style is different, that's for sure.
They look at the game in a different way. Where a lot of teams look at what's our team fight, what's our wave clear, what's our camp clear, and how do we win every fight. They look at it like, how do we get the map on our side and use the map to our advantage as hard as possible, and then how do we get someone to also possibly kill a team. I feel like their team fights is like last priority versus everything else.
I love casting and watching players that have that kind of mind frame and look at it in totally different ways because they come up with things you would never think of and have way higher knowledge of the game than I will ever hope to have. So it can be really enlightening to watch these players.
And synergy. You can't run those kind of comps without the proper synergy between
absolutely.
each other too.
So you have seen some bans so far. Medivh and Maiev taken away over on the side of WildHeart Alpha. Hogger and that Chromie banned out by WildHeart.
Yeah, Unaverted is a monster on that Chromie, so help try to alleviate that power by just getting rid of it.
All right, and this is first pick over to the side of WildHeart Alpha. Do you have any idea what they're gonna prioritize here? They're opting to go with first pick after losing the first game, so they must have some kind of idea in mind here.
Hell, it's about damn.
Tychus. I was thinking Tychus or Cassia. I was thinking, Tychus offers that wall for them to not pick Cho'Gall, because this is another great Cho'Gall map. You can do it here as well. And he's just very well rounded in his damage to both squishies and tanks. So he's in a good spot right now. That's a good first pick.
Oh, this is my jam. I bring pandemonium.
Lucio and Chen. I bet that's a damage Lucio.
You think so?
I'd bet money that Lucio is their DPS. One of their DPS.
We're just gonna have to wait and see here because the draft of WildHeart is always just a little bit out there, bringing some unique things so far. We are gonna see Deckard and Diablo picked up over on the side of WildHeart Alpha though, which I think is a pretty decent pickup so far, especially if they're assuming Lucio is going to be that healer. You don't have to worry about a Brightwing polymorphing, but if they're going to be playing Lucio as a DPS, there's still a chance that we see another healer picked up over on the side of WildHeart.
He got some buffs. They're not coming to my brain right now, but I talked to a couple Lucio mains, and they said that he feels really strong right now in terms of like killing squishies too and just being an annoying little fly. He's just really, really good at that. And he does a decent amount of damage when you get on one of those squishies and no one is able to answer you.
I mean, even before the patch, I knew some Lucio players who could pump out the damage and out-damage some DPS. So I'm not going to be surprised now if he got some buffs to if they do run something like this. I would love to see it. And I wouldn't even be surprised to see his numbers being pumped up on the Lucio.
Hopefully before they pick, why do you think they banned Deathwing on the side of WildHeart?
Make way for the bad guy.
I'm like trying to wrap my head. Asmodan! Oh, baby, where's Jackie?
Yeah, I don't know if it's just something they don't want to have to go against with what they have in mind for their draft, potentially. We also see the Malthael ban coming out over on the side of WildHeart Alpha, so banning out some of those frontline shreds. I'm wondering if they're going to do like a double bruiser now at this point, or what's going on over here.
Blaze could be fun. Oh no, they go ETC.
Oh, okay.
Off lane ETC. Might have put up the Blaze instead of ETC. I don't know. Cause do you think he's still gonna go Mosh or will he go stage dive at this point? Nova!
What? What is this?
I mean, same thing as Merky, you know? You get some bribes, go bribe the camp.
Oh my goodness.
Oh. Nova serving as the mage in this
Asmodan
composition
as well,
I guess.
though?
And yeah.
I'm interested to see how this plays out for them because they don't have like the best CC over on the side of WildHeart. So I'm wondering if they're gonna have any issues just trying to get some lockdown for a kill.
Oh, they don't have any.
Yeah.
They actually have a route from Zul'jin if he decides to go it.
All right, let's get into this game number 2 here between WildHeart Alpha and WildHeart. On the left-hand side, we have WildHeart Alpha with Drunk Dwarf playing ETC, Breakwood on Tassadar, Valimar on the Deckard, Winterheart playing Diablo, and Ryokai on the Tychus.
And on the side of WildHeart, we have Unaverted on Zul'jin, Weary Day on Lucio, Zerglin on Asmodan, Pit Kid on Chen, and Buds on Nova.
5, 4, 3, 2.
No, I just said Nova in a Storm Division qualifier game.
Yeah, this looks like a quick match draft. What is going on here? And then I would be really interested to know what their drafting thoughts were here. If we get to interview someone over on WildHeart at the end of this, because it's definitely out of the norm. We do have that force wall connecting onto the Zul'jin there. He takes quite a bit of damage, but doesn't seem to be afraid to step right back up there, and they are creating pressure in this mid lane already. We are going to see ETC going down for that solo lane, and Asmodan matching him here. The rest of the members doing a rotation between mid and top, and the first camp's going to be coming up in just a moment here, 10 seconds away from turret spawning in.
We actually do see ETC putting in a lot of work here. We have a Nova flank coming in. Drunkensdorf getting very, very low. Does end up walking away. Yes, with such little health. So we do see the flanking already coming out from the Nova. We have Winterheart trying to queue in, does get booped by the Lucio. So Weary Day has these boops on lock.
We're going to see Tychus start up that turret camp over on the side of WildHeart Alpha right now. I'm interested to see if WildHeart is going to start going for their camps, or if they're just going to eye and invade or do something surprising once again, because they seem full of surprises tonight.
Oh yeah, we do see an engage going in onto the Diablo. We saw the Chen be able to slow him down, and Unaverted just able to push all his damage into him. He does end up having him fall. ETC, this is an interesting matchup. I'm really interested in watching ETC and Asmodan just slap each other.
All right, WildHeart going to pick up their turret now as well. We did see Tychus and Deckard finish off that camp. Deckard currently holding on to the turret for WildHeart Alpha.
Things turning into a little bit of a lull here. Big wave bottom, and we see Nova positioning herself to be able to see any rotates or try to gank this ETC.
Nova did take bribe at level 4 here, so keep an eye out for those turret steals coming out from her later in the match. Breakwood taking a little bit of damage from that Nova. Winterheart looking to kind of back up a little bit here. We do have the objective coming up in about 20 seconds, so I'm expecting these teams to get on those siege camps. We do see Ryokai starting up the siege camp for the side of WildHeart Alpha. WildHeart, though, doesn't look like they have any interest. They want to go for kills instead, get that Zul'jin stacked. They do get that pick onto Diablo. Tassadar and Deckard having to back up here. We are going to see Breakwood Hearth at this point. Just a lot of pressure in this top lane in favor of WildHeart right now.
Yeah, unfortunately that Diablo picked a little bit of anti-synergy. He went in for the rubies from the Deckard, but they had the Tassadar wand. We have Ryokai going in. Just walking in. Yeah, it was scary for a moment there, but they don't have any real hard CC. Oh, Lucio is probably gonna get his stun at 7. We'll see if he ends up doing that. That's a stun. Some big damage going out onto Breakwood. That's gonna be healed up by the Decker. WildHeart going in to try to stun that Lucio, but he does end up getting chunked by the Zul'jin root going down onto the Chen. But WildHeart still taking a bunch of damage and will be falling. Valimar getting a little low, does end up healing himself up with pots, and Ryokai trying to re-engage here. However, this is a 4v3 now, so they do need to be a little bit careful here. They have Weary Day being the Lucio.
I feel like they could have maybe done something different there. They didn't have their level 7s online, so they're fighting down a talent here. They had a camp pushing top. Maybe just try to get a little bit of siege pressure in the top lane and look for your level 7s before going for that engage there. The turret camp back up again over on the side of WildHeart Alpha. We do have Valimar kind of hanging around looking to see if they can grab that. Now the rest of the members rotating over here for the engage. Zul'jin getting a little bit caught, but the power slide does not connect, and he is on the conveyor belt out of there. Drunk Dwarf in the back line trying to keep them around, but look at all this damage just being poked out into this 3v5. They're able to fight them up. We have Azmodan joining in now, but Chen's still in that top lane, clearing it up and getting some pressure up onto the top fort here. Ryokai taking a bit of damage. Drunk Dwarf going in for the power slide onto Nova. We have the slow connecting from Decker, but she's able to walk away still.
Oh, we do have a re-engage onto the Chen. He does end up getting flipped over by Diablo. He's trying to go to avoid that root from Decker Kane, does end up avoiding it, and then Diablo trying to Q in, try to get that kill, but they do end up backing off. Unaverted, putting out a lot of damage. I'm feeling a bit of hesitation from WildHeart Alpha at the moment. Oh, staying on the point and trying to keep the cap from happening, but Buzz ended up putting out all his damage onto him. The Ruby's coming out a little too late. That Pit Kid jumping over Drunken Dwarf, and they are going to get a lot of damage. Just power slide landing on them, followed up with Breakwood's damage, ends up killing the Chen. So now the point is going to go right back over to WildHeart Alpha at this moment.
But look at what WildHeart's doing. They're getting value elsewhere on the map anyway. They know they're down their Chen right now. They're down their front line. So this Azmodan Zergling is just pushing it down bottom. Is going to drop that demonic invasion on the keep here. Try to create some more pressure. Ryokai getting quite low. Needs to be a bit careful. Does have some rubies to run into, so he's going to be able to get healed up. And they get the pick onto Azmodan. So a fort for a couple kills here is what the trade ends up being.
Level 10s coming online for WildHeart. And the Trig Glove going to WildHeart Alpha. However, they don't really have a lot to follow up with it. So it's going to go up to try to get the top well, but Drunken Dwarf getting very low. We have a triple top being popped onto ETC. There is a triple tap Nova in this game.
Triple tap Nova and barrel roll for Chen. It's not going to be the little panda pals coming out here as well. You know, the nice thing too is that this entire time we're seeing Zul'jin stack off of that Triglav as well.
I really think they need to abuse this Azmodan a little bit more. Azmodan's feeling pretty safe. Like, he's even taking out his damage. We see some pinks coming in to help him, but we have Buds coming in. He did just bribe their camp and gonna be coming down to try to kill this ETC. ETC gonna try his best to keep him away, but does end up falling to the Nova. We do have a fight happening over here.
A beautiful sleep APOC combo coming out here from the side of WildHeart Alpha. Weary Day getting quite low, but is going to drop that beat on the Lucio, giving himself the shields. And now we have the Chen barrel roll, get himself out of there. It's actually going to be the Decker that falls here. Diablo going in for the wall stun onto Chen, flips him back over. But can they get enough damage to finish him off here? He's going to drink to try and get rid of that stagger, but he does go down a 1-for-1 in this fight. But they lost ETC bottom, and they're about to lose a keep as well. Zul'jin falls, but look at this. A turret on this bottom camp. Drunk Dwarf, the only one here to defend that. This keep looks like it's going to fall here. Zergling is committed to it at this point.
Red team has destroyed the turret.
We do see the Diablo charge onto Zergling, ends up putting him into the wall, flipping him. He does end up going down. Drungdorf getting fairly low here, gonna queue back to try to avoid that Nova snipe. And we have Lucio getting stunned by the Diablo, followed up by the break with damage, but doesn't connect, unfortunately. And Weary Day able to walk away, or skate away, or he's just gonna hang around and just annoy this Diablo.
Power slide being dropped in by the ETC. I just get the feeling that WildHeart Alpha doesn't know what to do against this comp.
A couple. So we do see the flip going in. WildHeart getting pretty low. There's a where if they just stacked up their damage in CC, they could have gotten a kill. But it feels like the CC, which is what they drafted the ETC for, is not landing. Oh, we do see a huge APOC going down, but we do have Tazinho being popped and the disengage being called here. We do see the Q going down onto the Lucio, followed up by the ETC stun. There we go! Yes! Okay, there we go. We just need a little bit more synergy from the side of WildHeart Alpha.
This is the thing though. They're putting 5 people onto getting a turret camp. Meanwhile, Chen and Azodan are continuing to push lanes and get soaked for WildHeart. They're just using so many resources to taking these 5v3s in a camp here that they're falling behind in other places.
Yeah, Azodan was picked before the ETC, so maybe if we see that Azodan, we'll have to try to pick something to counter this, pick something to counter it as best as they can. Maybe a lava wave rag to just alleviate the waves. And we do see the chase going down onto the Azodan. A flip followed up by the Deckard root, followed up by Breakwood's damage, and he does end up going down with Tychus remaining on this point here. But we do see Unaverted and Pitkid just going in onto the core, gonna try to do as much damage as they can. The shield's already gone. They're doing so much damage to the core, and they have 4 katas. Keep in mind, Unaverted has Dinko still. Oh no, he doesn't. He has it in 9 seconds. Oh, he is gonna end up falling. No, he gets away. We have a stage dive going up, trying to land behind the Zuladen. Does end up getting that kill. Triple tap coming out onto the ETC, but Deckard Kane is gonna eat all of it and say. And now Nova does end up going down with the core at 40%.
WildHeart, when they make it into the Storm Div qualifiers, because I feel like they're going to, they're one of the best teams in HOTS right now, are going to be a force to be reckoned with. I mean, they're just kind of styling it all over in these games tonight.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now we have to be really, really careful here, because honestly, Asmodan can solo this core. He can drop all of his little demonic evasion onto the core, his lasers, his Q, his minions. They can all solo the core as soon as WildHeart Alpha takes their eyes off of him.
Yeah, and look, they're already going down here with the Chen and the Lucio, a turret in hand as well. Demonic Invasion is up on the Asmodan, and they're just looking straight at core. 40% left onto the shields respawned in, but it's not going to take them much to get that down at this point, and we do see the ult come out from Asmodan here. Stage dive being dropped by ETC. The core is falling, though, 35% and going down. Stay a while and listen being popped by Deckard to try and peel them off the core, but Chen using that barrel roll to interrupt. Core at 10%. And going down, this looks like this is going to be game number 2, going over to the side of WildHeart. GG's and well played.
All right, you heard it here first. Nova has won a Storm Division qualifier game.
Is this the new meta? I think this has been one of the shortest series I have ever casted, ever. Like I don't think I've ever finished a best of 3 series in under an hour, but here we are, 50 minutes on the dot. WildHeart taking the win here. GG's, well played to them. Anything you want to know on this match summary screen before we hit someone up for an interview here?
Not in the match summary screen. It's really hard to note because, again, they just played the map so wonderfully that the stats don't really matter, kind of thing. Just Asmodan ran it down, 124,000 siege damage. Anytime they took his eyes off of him, anytime ETC stage dove in somewhere else, like he was just like, okay, cool, I'll just free push. And then we did see Nova go the snipe builds, which is so exciting because that's the builds I use whenever I pick it. And everything else is standard.
Me too. I love going snipe build. It's so fun just to have the spamming Q on Nova. Let's hit up WildHeart.
One of them.
Do an interview. I'm gonna jump over into one of the lobbies here in the NGS channel if you want to join me, and we'll see if somebody wants to come.
Okay, I will be there.
All right. There's so many channels in this in this Discord. I want to make sure that I find everything.
Man, oh man, oh man. WildHeart. How fun is it to be known as like the team you'll never be able to guess their comp? Just it'll never happen. No one can ever guess them except maybe like if Funds is on the team. Oh, they might go to Medivh. That's it. That's all you can guess.
All right, we're just waiting to hear back here. Hopefully someone comes and drops in the lobby and wants to come do the interview. 'Cause I would love to ask I would love to ask about their draft strategy.
Oh man. That's like the Krabby Patty formula. It's just locked up tight. There is no strategy. They just they look at quick match and kind of go from there. The highest quick match drafts that win.
Like, do they have a plan for these drafts? Do they know what they were doing, or are they just like, you know what, we're just so good we can run whatever we want and we'll make it work? Like, is that what's happening here? Are they that good?
They asked that question in CCL to Goon, and he went on a whole like metaphor, like, oh, drafting is like life.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
I watched that, yeah.
Oh, yay, Untitled.
Hello.
Hi, congrats on the win. We definitely have some questions about your draft tonight. Now, especially game number 2, do you guys have a plan for what was going on there?
I think Buds picked Nova because he wanted to play Nova. Other than that, that's a very serious comp.
It really kind of just felt like you guys were here to have fun tonight, and we're gonna run it down no matter what you picked up. It was really fun to watch.
Yeah, that's kind of goal with NGS. We're trying to not make it unfun for other teams as well. So like, but no, like we scrim versus like this WildHeart team and same with the other one for whenever we can.
Yeah.
So because they were pretty good scrim partners for when CCL was going on. So I hope they didn't take it too bad with us playing fun comps. But yeah, I think that would be the goal. I mean, we'll see in the real season, but for when Storm Division actually starts. But yeah, we might end up just playing for fun comps the whole time.
It's really interesting to watch you pull these things out, though, because it's not things you ever typically see unless you're queuing in maybe quick match. So it's interesting to see how you take these comps and actually turn them into wins for your teams. I'm sure you'll have no trouble getting into Storm Division this season, so I do wish your team the best of luck there, and I look forward to seeing some more of these wild drafts coming out from WildHeart. Salvaje, do you have any questions before we wrap it up with some shoutouts?
Yeah, for the other WildHeart Academy teams, does the main roster kind of sit with them and go, these are the typical drafts that we might go, or these are the type of roles we're trying to fill, even though it's not necessarily a normal hero? Do you kind of go over your strategy with the Academy teams and saying, you can do this, this, and this, and it serves the same purpose, even though it's murky, or even though it's Nova, even though it's whatever?
So I will say, like, these comps were not good. So, like, but in terms of, like, how much we help the other WildHeart teams, so WildHeart Alpha, we pretty much only scrim. We give some back and forth, but in terms of, like, going through our comps have a lot of moving pieces on how they work, and so we end up switching a lot of things, and we don't always explain everything on how it works. But I know, especially WildHeart Omega, they like, especially Lupus, I know he likes to steal the Justin tanking quote, play the Maiev or whatever else. So no, I think it's cool. But no, we talk to them and we get back. We have like back and forth conversations. Sometimes after scrims, just on like specific things, but not necessarily breakdowns on how to do the same plans. Because at the same time, I don't even think that's the most helpful. I think it's better if they have their own ideas and their own plans. But if they want to do similar stuff, then we do give advice.
Nice.
All right. Well, let's get into some shout outs on Averted. Is there anyone you'd like to shout out before we wrap this up?
Yeah, shout out to my team. Shout out to WildHeart.org. There is merch. Maybe someone in chat can link to it. And shout out to Fun's mom.
Fun's mom.
All right. Well, congrats again on the win. I look forward to you guys playing in NGS this season. I wish your team the best of luck for whenever CCL season 2 starts up again. See you around. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
All right. Let's get Salvaje back up here. We'll wrap this up real quickly. All right. Just give me a moment to get you back on my screen here.
Hey, yo. Man, I know they said that they don't want to like tilt the other teams and whatnot when they're playing their for fun comps during NGS. I'd be tilted out of my mind.
Yeah, I have to say I'd be feeling pretty frustrated after those matches as well. But at the same time, I mean, it kind of puts things in perspective. If you're aspiring to be a CCL player, it really just gives you an idea of what level you need to be on and what things you need to be able to pull off as a team if you want to make it. So I'm excited to see where they go for NGS. I'm glad that they're going to be participating in NGS, and I'm glad that I'm going to get to see them play more often. Other than that, quick little just, if you guys would like to support Storm Division, I think I made a command, but let me double check that I saved it here. Yeah, I did. All right, if you guys want to support Storm Division, there is a prize pool there. You guys can go to Manchurino and use the coupon code STORMS2 to contribute to the prize pool for free. It's just like a little coupon code, and it puts money into the prize pool. Easy peasy, you don't even have to pay. So go check out that link and add some money to the prize pool for this upcoming season of Storm Division. And of course, Salvaje, where can people find you? Let's get a shout out from the lovely Salvaje.
Hey! You can find me at Salvaje Gaming on Twitter. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Salvaje Gaming. I stream Monday through Saturday, 9:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with Heroes of the Storm. And on YouTube, you can find me at Salvaje Gaming as well.
All right, and if this is your first time here, hi, I'm Jazzalene. I stream mostly Heroes of the Storm for all of my streams these days. So if that's up your alley, make sure to hit that follow button. You can catch me streaming usually 4 to 5 days a week. I will be streaming again tomorrow at 8 p.m., Friday at 6, and Saturday at 3 p.m., so come check it out. Love to see you back in stream again. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Congrats again to WildHeart, and we'll see you guys again soon. Have a wonderful rest of your week.